Welfare Juma. Department yoka.
Kayunga muri mu kuyoza
Kuyole kayunga
wakandi uri kayunga
bakoordinator bayola
basaba bebafunye
era bwakomanga ne wamuwa omusaala ngenda mujja
ali mu sente
And this afternoon, as my friend told you, we are going to have a topic on youth unemployment and financial literacy. These are topics that are so dear to all of us, I'm sure we know. Our presenter is somebody who is known to many of you. How many have ever attended these lectures? You have attended these lectures before. So today is adding on to what you already know about him. Mr. Ochichi, for the last 25 years, he has been in the microfinance and small and medium enterprise development in Uganda. For the last 25 years. He's a widely respected and notable speaker in international conferences that are always organized by UN, the World Bank, and African Union. So you have the whole world with you here. This gentleman moves around the world to lecture, but today you have got him. Use him to the maximum. He's a founder, executive director of Enterprise Uganda, the country's premier business management institute. He's the first president of Enterprise Africa, a 14-member umbrella body of enterprise development institutions in Africa. He holds a board directorship in banking, education, and NGO sector. And of course, somebody to be all those things that I've mentioned. He's a man who has seen and gone through different schools and has really read widely. He holds 2 master's degrees, an MBA and MSc in investment analysis from the United Kingdom. So please welcome Mr. Ochichi Charles, and I believe you will not be the same after his lecture. Be very attentive. For those with the phones, I request that you either reduce the volume or you switch them off. Just give yourself this 1 hour. And our members online, we thank you so much. We are going to be having a very lively afternoon. Please keep your questions and concerns coming. At the end of the presentation, we shall allow you to ask questions before we close. So thank you so much. May I now invite Mr. Ochichi to come and take us through the afternoon lecture. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Honorable Secretary General of Enterprise. I'm very delighted to be here this afternoon at Chadondo, talking to the energy of the country, the hope of Uganda, and the future of our own country. And I'm coming to do that on a topic that every human being who has passed 18 years must embrace. And I don't mention my words by accident. If you're above 18 years, no matter what rank, what position, what age, what education you hold, the message I'm going to share, it matters. Because there are some people who have gone through life, got their degrees, got their jobs, became ministers. The ministerial portion ended. They forgot entrepreneurship. They forgot financial literacy. Within 24 months, a fellow who had enjoyed a strong political career, professional career, was reduced to nothing. And I'm talking of 24 months, you'll still be alive. 10 more years without a job, alive, but you enjoyed a job of 30 years, great salary. The job ended, which must happen. Every job will come to an end. Every job must come to an end. So the only job that you cannot put a timeline to is ability to sell a solution for which people will be saying, I'm coming to buy again and again and again. And that takes me to entrepreneurship. And the beauty about this subject is there's no limitation of education. Some of the richest never saw a primary school. Some of the richest were born and never saw their mom, never saw their dad, and they are very rich. And I'm talking of a lawyer in Gulu, one of the biggest farmers of fish in this country. And when a lawyer came to Enterprise Uganda for his training, the young man had just left the IDP camp. And he came and attended the training. After the training, the fellow said, why ever did I complain about being disadvantaged? I had all it takes to change my future. The training ended on a Friday. Saturday, a lawyer was digging. What was he digging? He was digging to remove soil from a swampy ground. 3 weeks was at it, sweating, getting thinner and thinner. Later, he reaches the water. Now, he reaches the water, he wants to start a fish pond. But the lawyer doesn't have money to buy the fingerlings, and nobody can donate them. We told a lawyer, no excuse is accepted once you are an adult. So what he did, he said, I have done this digging. What I'm throwing away is the clay that I dug out of the swampy area. Quickly, he saw people were making bricks using that clay. He shifts to abandoning the water that he had found to now making clay bricks. With the clay bricks, he sold them. He bought the fingerlings. To cut a long story short today, a lawyer, a young man who left the ID camp with nothing. Okay, at least he went up to senior 5. He went up to some school. Senior 5, but some small school in Gulu region. Today, he has managed to open no less than 8 fish ponds, from which he sells every year at least 1.8 billion. Of course, it's not just last year, it's not even 3 years ago, it's now about 7 years ago when he started. But what's 7 years ago? Just ask yourself, 7 years ago, just the other day. You remember very well where you were 7 years ago. And let me tell you again, in a very short time, another 7 years will pass. Then you ask yourself, what have I done? So a lawyer transforms a position that was desperate, moneyless, no connections, nobody knowing him, to a position now where people are looking for him and saying, please, Mr. Lawyer, we are booking the fish. We are booking the fish. And when he did that story, we shared that story with the UN agency in Geneva called UNCTAD. UNCTAD said, if only this story was replicable, could be repeated. Can we hear from a lawyer himself? A lawyer had no passport. Geneva said, if he has no passport, we shall pay for it. Said, no, but also it takes a bit of, no, we can talk to foreign affairs, wanting to get a passport urgently and come and address a UN conference. The young man who had no passport quickly got a passport. And he was immediately put on a plane. He arrives in Geneva. He had never been to Entebbe, by the way. First of all, he had no passport before. He had never been to Entebbe airport. The first time he goes to Entebbe airport is to go to Europe through a visa which is so difficult to get. And instead, the other one died to say, will a lawyer come? Will a lawyer come? A lawyer arrives there and is received at the airport and placed to some top-notch hotels and straight away taken to address a UN conference on how he transformed his living from that basic individual to an individual now that earns money that even a person in America will admire. If you converted 1.8 billion into US dollars, it is $500,000. It's $500,000. And a lawyer gets, in that kind of money, he gets between 15 and 20% profit. Now, $500,000 or $500,000 is $50,000. I bring this message because my journey has been a journey of empowering Ugandans. Having been in the banking sector, I abandoned the banking sector in Nairobi and came to Uganda and said, UN is starting an agency to empower Africans. And in Uganda, it was called Enterprise Uganda. In Ghana, it's called Empress Ghana. You go to Zimbabwe, it's there. You go to Ethiopia, it's there. You go to many of these flourishing economies, an enterprise center does exist. And I became their first president for that network. But since I came in to head this organization today, it has had 153,000 Ugandans go through our hands. And for some of you who were keenly watching the Sunday NTV programs, and again this Sunday I'm on, we share testimonies on what happened to the individuals who came for that one transformative investment. And that investment, all of us have it, but left lying idle, and that's your brain. So for the last 20 years when Enterprise Uganda has been here, we have touched the lives of Ugandans across the country. If you come from Western Uganda, we brought Esau on NTV. Esau stopped in primary 5. Today you go to Intungamo. Esau attended his training at Intungamo Standard College. Who is from around that area? Anybody from Intungamo? You have heard of Intungamo Standard College? That's where the first lady took us to go and train the locals of Intungamo. And when we did that training, one of the fellows in the audience was a primary 5 graduate. We don't use the word dropout. Primary 5 graduate. So when he turned up for this invitation, he asked himself, even me to go and attend a training where they speak English and become rich? We told them, yes, you're welcome. Because we do the training and we translate the English submissions. Today, Esau is a leading bakery owner, serving no less than 9 districts in Western Uganda. A fellow who had no land bought 50 acres of land. He has since transformed 30 of those into coffee and banana plantations. And a man has employed as his general manager, a man who got a master's degree in business administration. Employed by somebody who is a graduate of which class? Primary what? Primary 5. And we do misunderstand these things because we think if somebody stopped in P5, his knowledge has stopped in P5, it's wrong. If you are an adult and every day you are practicing what I'm going to tell you today, every day you are in the classroom. The number of years that you've been around is the number of years you've been in the game of learning and becoming better. So from Western Uganda, we brought Esau. From Nebi district, we brought Harriet Kayompatho, who also came here, came and shared her story on how she started with 150,000 shillings. And today she has got a business where she makes sales of 3 million per day. In Nebi town. Because you wish such a thing that should be happening in Wakiso, in Kampala, in Kono, not in Nebi. In Nebi. 3.2 million shillings per day selling what? Water and drinks and hair paper. You don't need to be over innovative. This is the beauty about our country. You don't need to be so different in terms of the type of business you've chosen. Just give us everyday solutions, but do them in a business-like manner. And it's that business-like manner today that I will address myself to. And please, it may be 1 hour, but it could be the 1 hour you needed to begin to change your fortunes and change them forever without having to turn to anyone again. Without having to turn to anyone again. Because the person you are trying to turn to right now, if he does not also practice what Chichi teaches, do you know that he's a candidate of poverty? Riches have got no respect for history, number one. Riches only obey 2 things. How do you get wealth and is sustainable? There are 2 things. And those 2 things you discover, it has nothing to do with the rank you held, the English you spoke, the pedigree of the parents you had, 0. That's why some of us, you are seated here and your parents were one time rich, today they are in trouble. The wealth has left them. Why? There are 2 laws: to acquire wealth and to keep it and keep it permanently. The first law of acquiring wealth is sell a solution that meets customer expectation. 3 key words in that statement. It must be a solution, not according to you, according to a customer. And for that to be a solution that is really going to give you money, it must be according to the expectations of the consumer of the solution. The moment you do that, the game is done. You have just entered private sector without announcing yourself as an entrepreneur. So you don't even want to, you don't have to say, I am a businessman. The moment you just start doing that, you start buying without you announcing and calling yourself a business person. Sell a solution that meets customer expectation. That solution, when we are coming to buy it, we will never ask and say, by the way, are you from my tribe? If I buy the eggs, I want eggs. I have visitors on Saturday. I want the best eggs. And when I'm entering the area where eggs are being sold, my eyes are on the eggs, not the people behind the eggs. Did you notice that? When you are going to look for a shirt, you look at the shirts, not the individuals first. Where is a good shirt? Where is a good shirt? Sell a solution that meets customer expectations. We will later discover you are a Mchiga like me. Later. We will later discover you go to the same church with me. That later. We will later discover that you are an orphan long ago. That is later, and doesn't even matter. That's rule number 1. If anybody ever gave you money and never told you that rule, that person has deceived you. And very quickly the deception will come out because you have no money, nobody giving you money. Where's my money pass? I want you to show this money pass here. Today this not used for chichi. One way of me getting to remove it with happiness is I want something, and what I'm going to buy is going to be an equivalent of what I expect out of this note. If I gave you this note and you have nobody to sell something and the person is happy to come back again, forget becoming a business person. You got money, you got capital, you went to the uncle gave you money, you forgot that we give you money because you are giving somebody a solution somewhere. The solution can be looking after the flowers. Look how clean they are. Do that and talk about it wherever you go. We look for you and just say, who did the flowers at the NRM Secretariat? Once you are able to sell a solution that shouts out to the next potential consumer, you are about to enter what I call the arena of enjoyment of being a business person. And what's that arena? Repeat business. I come again and again and again. And when I'm coming to buy the chicken from you, even if there are 3 other people selling chicken, and I want 10 of them, and all the 10 are good and they are so blessed, you know what I do? I tell the distributor and say, oh, you're also selling a chicken for the sake of being fair. Let me buy 2 A6 from you, then 2 here, then never. I go for the ones that fulfill my expectations, and I leave all the money right there. And I do that in the open without apology. And I don't even tell you sorry. I just buy and walk away with my chicken. Why? Met my expectations. Sell that solution that meets the expectation. Now, if you have done just that bit, the only way to confirm that you have done that bit, that part of the rule of entering the private sector, the first thing is, did the person who bought from you yesterday come back? Because today again is about eat lunch. Yesterday ate your lunch food and paid you money. What feeling did he go away with? You got the money? Did you see the feelings he left behind us was leaving the restaurant? Or you simply say, I got the money, Whatever happens to him, I'm not interested. The next day he won't be there. But the next day he will be hungry. And he will try another person. You got money from the uncle. He gave you the restaurant, you got the chairs, you got the place, and the cutlery was beautiful. The experience is beyond the venue, beyond the raw materials you got. I want the experience of fulfilling my expectations. If I come again, and I'm no longer talking about the price, you just know that you got a fellow and you have entered the arena of great experience. Number two, how do you know that you have fulfilled the first law well? Remember the repeat business thing? They come back this time without having to bother about the price again. They just say, put me the other chair. Now, each time you see me, I want to sit there. Evidence number two that we are doing well is this fellow who is so happy in the restaurant. As he goes away and meets his brother, meets his uncle, meets a friend of his, what does he say? If you have a good lunch, there's a place in Bugolopi, after the Saturday, after Postbank, that's the place, go and eat from there. The customer is marketing you, not because he loves you. He's marketing you because one, he loves his friend. Two, he wants his friend to also know that he loves him. So the referral that is being made by the customer is a selfish referral. They are not doing that because that woman has got school fees to pay, that woman has a child that you want to treat, please go and eat from her restaurant. Useless, rubbish. They don't do that. I'm referring this fellow to your restaurant because I love him and he must give me the feeling and the message saying, I ate from there, you didn't give me a full story, it was so good. What happens next? Another one will be giving the same referral, then another referral, then another referral. All of a sudden, the young fellow is headed for billionaireship. This is business of imagining that we will ever buy because of your ethnic composition. Forget it. If that one comes as an addition, it is not an addition. And the moment you forget that the primary reason why I came was I was selfish. The moment you forget that, and I was selfish, I wanted good food. That's why I came to you. I was selfish. I came to you because I wanted good food. If you forget that and you start drumming your tribe, forget it. It must end, and it must end quickly. Now, that's the first pillar of becoming a business person. I will be giving a few rules on how to get to that pillar and succeed in it. But let me give the second pillar why. Some people became fairly well off. But after some time, the business is collapsing. And you know what normally what they say? I do everything I do, but I don't know what's happening to my business. I leave it to God. Useless, rubbish, nonsense. You never hire God even for one day. Never. And you know what he says in his words? He actually uses very damning words. He says, I went around a garden of a lazy, stupid person. I found it full of thorns and weeds, and was oversleeping and was folding his hands. Those are not my words. Those words are lifted verbatim from Proverbs chapter 24, from verse 30 to the end. I went around a garden of a lazy, stupid. Can you imagine God putting the word stupid in his book? Stupid! Because he said, yesterday the customer bought and you forgot what made him to come. Yesterday the customer was up good and you have forgotten. Stupid. Stupid. I went around a garden of a lazy, stupid man. I found him folding his hands and oversleeping. And you know how he ends that verse? He says, I said to him, poverty that attacked him like an armed robber. Oh, you feel like going to the Quran because in the Quran the same verse is there. You feel like going to the Bible and tearing it away until you just say, no, it is not me who wrote the Bible. And the man who is talking about you for your laziness, he says, I created you, I know you. I know you can do better, but you have decided to hand over your responsibility to somebody else. And you go even an extra mile of attempting to hire God. I leave it to God. I think it was God's plan. The customer's gone away. He says the food was bad. I found a fly was there. I stood for so long. You didn't even say hello to me. I've left. And you're here saying, God, I leave now that one to you. You take over from there. He said, these 4 things, if I find from you, I'm sending for you poverty. And it's coming from the official maker of your nature. He made us. He knows us very well. And he knows that you are capable of surviving and changing things. And if you refuse, he says, if I see these 4 things, I'm coming for you. Number 1, are you lazy? Number 2, are you stupid? Number 3, are you folding your hands? Number 4, are you oversleeping? He says the list is complete. I'm forwarding for a special attack. And it's going to attack you like an armed robber. So what am I saying here? Once you have entered into business and the customer came yesterday and he complained about too much salt, it is your responsibility to be wise and learn and quickly adjust the amount of salt. If the customer came yesterday and he told you that, you know what, your food, I ate atap from Teso. Atap was not well made. And Teso will taste atap and you quickly know it's not ready. It's not ready. And I give you feedback. I couldn't swallow it because it's not ready. The person of wisdom will quickly now say, how do I make good atap? How? If you want to hand that one to God, he knows what to do with you. He knows what to do with you. So the second thing that you must fulfill for wealth to come to you and remain with you permanently is be ready to compete for that customer. He came yesterday, was happy. He has come again today, he's happy. But somebody is also saying, no, please, I know you are eating from that place, but we have the same food except for us, we even give you a bit of salads also here. We also give you, some bit of pili-pili here. That place they don't. The fellow is taking you by force. You have seen how banks are approaching you. They know you're in a certain bank, but they still come for you. They know Ochichi is already with a certain bank. They will still approach Ochichi. And so, Chichi, you know our services are like this and this and this and that. Please come and experience our services. That speaks volumes about business. The day you sleep, because yesterday people were many. The day you begin to relax, because in the area you are number 1. You are cooked, you are finished. The customer, the competition is watching. What are you doing that is making customers to come to you? And you are doing those things daytime. Are you aware that business people are selling solutions when the sun is on? You are not feeding people at midnight. You feed them at breakfast time. We see you. We see you go to buy things at Nakawa. We see you hiring employees. We see you opening the door. We see you as an open book to be copied. If you are not aware about that, my brother, my sister, your journey in the game of entrepreneurship is taking off. It is taking off. You must be replaced because the customer will shift daybreak without warning and without telling you that tomorrow, by the way, don't plan for me because I'm shifting. They just shift. You have planned for them. Right, there's some conversation from the phone here. So I'm just giving you what I call the foundational mindset for being in private sector, so that anybody, anywhere who tells you, go and become a business person, never expect miracles. Never. And some of you are going to pastors over praying and saying, please, I want my miracle. You know January is coming. That's the 1st of December. Come for your miracle. Come for your miracle. Miracles can happen, but they will not give you wealth. Why? The moment you pray for a miracle, and for some reason God gives you the cow, They send a cow for you from Holland saying, there's a person that we saw in a dream in Kampala. He needs to get this cow. Send it to him. When the cow arrives, do you know what the cow does? I have been traveling for 24 hours. I am hungry. Where is the pasture? A miracle cow wants pasture. A miracle cow says, every 2 months I need vaccination. If not, me, I'm going to die. Me, I'm going to die. You go back to the supply of the cow and say, please, pray again from that side so that a miracle doctor come to treat my cow. You know what God will say? Read Proverbs chapter 24 and then start to see your laziness, your stupidity, and your folding of hands. And then the poverty will be delivered. The cow will die. You will eat the miracle cow. And then you will again announce it was God's plan. Nonsense. I think it was really God's plan. Otherwise, that cow was good, but was God's plan that it died. I just want to put it all in God's hands. That's why once poverty surrounds a particular family or particular community, there is a way to hold this family to break out. It is very difficult. Reflect in your village, reflect in where you come from. Certain individuals are caught like this. God says, I'm punishing them deliberately for their laziness and their stupidity. Now, competition is not among peoples. I hope you know of a company called Yuga Chick. What does it do? What does it do? It does what? It sells chicken. Do you know that where they sell chicken is where a person in West also with 3 chicken will sell the same chicken? There's no saying, oh, please, you got chicken. Don't bring your chicken here because the poor man is serving in this area. Zero. The market is open. The people with the best resources are in the same market with you. You are here running that business with a loan. The other people are running that business without a loan. You are running this business with limited experience and expertise. The other ones have employed the best staff. And God says, no problem, sort it out. Sort it out. No apology. No apology. At least in school, they will tell you, primary 7 exam should be sat by all the people who are in primary. You don't bring somebody of senior 4 to come and sit for the same exam. In private sector, never. A person with a PhD is competing with somebody with P1 in private sector. And you can't take anybody to court. They wipe you out and take all your customers when you are seeing. And God is also seeing. And the pastor who prayed also is seeing. And your customers are being taken. No crime committed. Competition is competition of non-equals. But the good message is there are certain things you need to follow. Once you follow those things, there will always be space for one more person to join the game. And those who were in the game earlier and they forget the rules that I share here, they must leave. People have been evicted in Nakasero with apartments, which you got over 30 years ago, you owned them. And you had the tenants paying you in dollars. You forget the rules that she's talking about, you will be evicted. And it has happened not so long ago. A person within the state road was in here. The family that had established itself so well mishandled the game. And they pulled out. They said, please leave. 16 apartments in Nakasero. Please leave. Get out. The game of private sector is so interesting. It is so brutal. It is so merciless that if anybody ever imagines you go there talking about the color of your skin, talking about your parents, talking about whoever you are, forget the game. And on that note, permit me now to illustrate to you how, following the 2 principles that I've just mentioned to you, a young man like many of you is today making sales that are so difficult to announce in public because they are so big. They are so big. But I'll just tell you that this young man is a public story, and we decided to put him on our calendar of 2021, and he is on the December page here. The pictures you are seeing there was when we took him to NTV. When we took him to NTV, this young man shared his story. And his story is an illustration that we as Ugandans are the ones who have deliberately shied away from business. And because we have deliberately shied away from business, the 4 things that I mentioned, that I talked about earlier on, many of us are carrying those 4 things. Laziness. The other one is what? Stupidity. The third one is what? Folding hands. And then the last one is what? Oversleeping. Now, this young man came to Enterprise Uganda when he was finishing his second year at the University, Makerere University. And by the time he finished the training, which lasted from Monday to Friday, he said, Enterprise Uganda has made it very clear that if you are born to a family of poverty, it's not your fault. If you remained in poverty, it's your choice. You are born into poverty, it's not your fault. But now that you have been given the message and you have remained in poverty, it is a choice you have made. So what did he do? After the training of 5 days, this young man came from a family where mommy was a single mom, not because daddy was not there. Dad was there, but decided to chase mommy away. Go away with your 7 children. Very useless woman. Go. The lady moves out with the whole 7 to go and work in other people's gardens. The boy could not now complete school properly. But within the Buyende area was a man who would buy the fish from the landing site, and he started working there. He became a good young employee, and he would save his money. By the time he came for our training, he had 500,000 shillings. He said, I wanted to buy a radio to show the world that although I came from poverty, I can also enjoy good things. After the training, he discovered, no, I'll be eating my capital. So what does he do? Friday night, he bought a taxi the next week. He bought a taxi to go to Buyende, to join this man who used to employ him during holidays. And he told him, sir, I have come to join you during the semester, not as an employee, but to buy my fish and I put in your lorry. The man said, you're a good boy, but I hope you will not fail at school. Number 2, he told him, if you put your fish in my lorry and I'm taking my fish to Natete, do not expect me to sell the fish on your behalf. Then you come on Sunday to pick the money. Please, if you put the fish in my truck, wait for the truck in Natete, go and sell the fish, go home, go to the university. The boy said, we were told about that we must take responsibility. So he did that. By the time the 1 year was over, 500,000 had become 5 million shillings. Immediately proceeds to the same place. Now, where is Yasin Magino today? Today, Yasin Magino does not only sell a few boxes of fresh fish, he sells 3,500 kilograms of fish, not a year, every day. He's not selling just only in Kampala, he's exporting to Kenya. He's exporting to Kenya. By the time we brought him to NTV to narrate his story, he had bought his own trucks for taking the fish, 3 of them. When I last talked to him, he said, Ochichi, I don't have only 3 lorries now, I have 6. Every banker is asking me whether they can lend to me. And I'm struggling to stop them. They are trying to give me the best interest rates because they see the deposits that go there every day. They see those deposits and just say, how can we be part of the story of this young man? 3,500 kilos of fish, daily. You go to Natete, you go to Boise. There's a young man called Mr. Fish. He's the one. It's called Mr. Fish. In addition to that, he has built 3 houses in Ginger. It's now 6 years. 3 houses in Ginger. He has 12 motorcycles for border business. 12. He has 3 taxis. He has employed 51 staff. He sleeps at midnight. If you got him and talked to him, he will look at a young man and just wonder why you are not doing what you are doing. Because he has since been picked from that weird area, and he goes to Nakasongola, he goes to Kalanga, everywhere he is a major buyer of fish. What is his age? 29. 29. 29. Did he finish his course? Yes, he did. He was in the top 5 out of 600 he got an upper second. Get me right, he didn't fail. Got an upper second. Because the moment the brain is told that this can be done, the first thing it tells you, reorganize your time. No more wasting time on WhatsApp. No more wasting time on this and this. No more, please organize your time. The brain begins to take charge immediately. Is this success permanent? No. Why? Because of the 2 rules. Sell what makes a customer happy. If you have been selling 3,500 kilograms of fish and they are good, the moment the fish begin to become rotten, the journey must take a downward trend. No permanent story of success anywhere. 0. If you are coming from a neighborhood that used to be so good, ask yourself, why have they changed? They changed because check the 2 rules quickly. Did they continue to sell a solution that customers wanted? Did they continue? He was doing it when he was the general manager in a bank. Has he continued after leaving being a general manager? If he has stopped, forget it. Number 2, did he know that others are coming in to compete with him? And he must be ready for competition. And the competition can come from within the neighborhood, outside your district, outside your country. It can be even a solution that is being given online without you seeing the competition while travel. So I brought this story here because Yasin changed his life by just addressing the right business mindset. And that right business mindset requires you to fulfill the two laws of becoming a successful wealth generator. What you are selling, am I happy with it? Number 2, are you aware that somebody tomorrow is coming to approach me? And if he does it in a better way, I'm going to leave you. Are you aware? If you're able to do that, the game is on. It's yours. It's yours. And this, some of you are employed. Let me tell you, if you are salaried, anybody who is earning a salary and you're in the room, you earn a salary, I have a message for you as well. This message is for you as well, and even more criminal for the salary payments. More criminal. You get these resources and you eat all because it is tiny. My salary is small. You people, my salary is small. There are people without a salary and they are alive. They walk with 2 feet. They even smile. They even know which team has won today in the Premier League, but they have no salary. I just want to say this. If you are here and you are a salary person, the earlier you started getting to do what Presisto Muyingo is doing or did, the better for you. Presisto Muyingo was a teacher and then became a deputy master at Namugongo. And at that point, when he became a deputy master there, Namugongo was only admitting super second grade senior 1, not division 1. The school was too junior. It was only admitting second grade, super second grade. Today, I went to Kisubi. Today, Kisubi will struggle with Namugongo like this to get the finest in the class for senior 1. There's no more guarantee. And who did that? Muyingo. With his team, they worked on making sure that the school flourishes. But as was doing that, you know what he did? He was coaching students in his class, in his sitting room. He started with 9 students. There was no registered company, no registered business, no name. He just said, I'm coaching students. That's coaching students. There's no business name, but he just said, I'm coaching students. But there was a customer who was saying, I want that. The 9 did very well. He announced the rest. They talked about it. The next class was 31. Those ones did very well and took them to register in other schools because they couldn't be accepted in Namgongo. Meanwhile, he's pushing Namgongo the other side to move from a school admitting 2nd grade to a school admitting 1st grade. Then later, admitting super 1st grade. This business was going on. This business of saying, I'm too busy to start something, you must regret. And that regret is going to come. The only way you not have come to hear this message is for you not to have come either on virtual media or in physical form and be here. You are earning a salary and you have not started. This message will resonate with you in not so far a period from now. Back to Muyingo. From 31, they got 150. He still did not have a campus, a center number. By the time he hit 300, the fellow where he was hiring the building from, he said, teacher, why don't you buy this building plus this is swamp area? People don't like to come and rent here. He bought the building plus the area. And slowly by slowly started building center high. Today he has got 3 campuses. Admitting super students. I don't want to mention the school fees that he collects, but you can just imagine if the students are 6,500 and the kind of school fees he's collecting, you just picture the figures that he picks per term. And you know what? He doesn't sleep in Kololo, doesn't sleep in Nakasero, he sleeps in Balala. When the school is open, before he goes to sleep in his home, which is just within the area, he first talks to the master. He talks to the head boy. He moves around to check out the kitchen. Then he goes to rest. What does that tell you? There is always time once the brain commits. If you tell the brain you are too busy, it now knows the moment it's 5 o'clock, it must unwind all your energy, and you really look very tired at 6 o'clock. You'll be yawning, looking for a bed, yawning. I'm tired. Why? You announced it. But those are not my words. The one who created us said so. He said, a tongue has got the power to give life and what? Death. And the last part of it is the most interesting. He said, those who love to use the tongue must harvest what he says. I feel like holding you and saying, please never be negative next time. If I find I should kick your bums and kick them twice. Because the one who created you knows that the moment you talk, it rewires this brain without your permission. I'm always tired after work. He says, you announce it, the brain must quickly obey that tiredness. And now, and rewire you to become very, very tired at 5:30. You must be tired. But in the same country is another man called Chrysisto. At 6 o'clock, he's entering the school compound. And his brain is so sharp for the next 2 hours. He's inspecting, he's holding meetings, and he's as if he was there the whole day. Ugandans, we have limited time. We have very, very, very limited time to change and take charge of our country. Because the moment we are full of people who speak negativity, and God is telling you are harvesting what you are saying. Allah is saying you are harvesting what you are saying. I want to tell you this one message about becoming rich. These are the 2 laws I've just told you. And to just tell you that whatever I've told you is correct, there are only 2 ways for you to confirm. One, I've told you the Allah's message or God's message. 1 week. Pick the Quran, pick the Bible and see where laziness is glorified. Check. 0. The story of the talents, what does it say? You had 1 and still 1? And you want me to call you my child? The person who had 2 resources had made them 4. You know what he told him? The exact words that he gave to the one who made 5 to become 10. He used those words to praise the one who made 2 to become 4. Because he says, you don't need to start from the same platform. You can start here, another one here, another one this way because of the background. It doesn't matter. But whatever you started, are you growing it? That's what the son of the talents is saying. The fellow who had 1 resource, he kept it 1 and he buried it in the ground. He said, he used 2 W words to describe that person. The first one was, you are worthless. Number 2, he said, you are wicked. Then he didn't leave the person there. He said, the little one that you buried in the ground, bring it here quickly. And he gave it to the person who was sweating, having made 5 to become 10. And then he turned down to the fool and told the fool, I'm going to kick you out to the outside where there is darkness and grinding of teeth of pain. How can God announce such a statement about your failure to use the limited resources that you have? Whatever resource you have, it can be just your legs and your energy. This was an orphan. Okay, not really an orphan. The father was there, but he just said, no, I'm not going to look after you. The mother was a laborer in other people's gardens. Today, mommy is in one of the most modern homes in Wales. No longer a laborer in other people's gardens. And he pays, on average, he says 5 million school fees per term to his other siblings. So, my message is extremely clear. The evidence that this message is correct, 1, it is in the words of Allah, in the words of God. Number 2, if you don't want to hear the word God, God knows our God, yeah. Else? Thank you so much. Thank you for having a fallback position. I was just telling you that whatever I'm sharing here, it has nothing to do with Ochichi. Ochichi can talk and go. The message I'm leaving behind, it is possible to confirm its validity. Those who are religious, go and read your books properly. There are these beautiful verses you like quoting in the Bible. If God can look after the birds of the air, what of me who is in his own image? What a lie. Did the bird of the air wake up in the morning and remain in the nest waiting for food? The moment that bird woke up in the morning, the first thing was to thank his God. But God, thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me a day. Yesterday there was a lot of rain. My house was almost falling, but I survived. Thank you so much that rain, I survived it. In the morning, the bird has thanked his God and it flies away to go and look for food. This stupid fellow is putting the bird is flying looking for food. It comes back with something in the mouth saying, my children have got it, I've brought some food. And you know what that bird does? As soon as the kids are put on some feathers, it tells you, the kids, tomorrow I'm taking you out, and start putting them on the back and says, please, I'm teaching you how to fly. It is time to leave the nest. And then here you are quoting the birds of the air. If God can look after the bird of the air, what about me, who is in his own image? Ooh, as if you don't see the bird flying and looking for food. So, the first message is everywhere in the Quran, everywhere in the Bible is a clear message of sweat. A clear message of sweat. If your uncle has numbed you and has tried to tell you that it is not your fault, you have been applying, you have not gotten a job, why am you wait? You know, in this country we're just struggling, and then you start snoring that uncle is looking after you. He is denying you so many months of opportunity to get started. Many. But he's doing it innocently. He's not meaning to what? To make you switch off, but he's denying you opportunity to wake up. Evidence number 2 about the message I'm talking about here. whichever district you come from. I mentioned Itungam. Go to another person other than Esau of Itungam that I talked about. Talk to a rich person of Itungam. How did you start some time back? Did anybody look after you? Did anybody give you support? Did anybody, today banks are all looking after you. Was it like that all the time? I tell you, never. I put one stone at a time to where I've reached. Number two, I have brothers and sisters, they are not like me. Why? They never follow the same path. Otherwise, you would have just said, this must be genetic. If this one is rich, then all the other brothers must also be very rich. Never will you make riches genetic. Impossible. But there is not one person in Itunga, in Ibanda, in Kisoro, in Soroti, in Amuru, in Moya, who has changed their story. But you know what we normally do when we go to this kind of people? We only go with two requests. Help me, have no job. I need some money to go and get some treatment. I need some money to go for an interview. Never will you ever sit down with that uncle of yours and say, but uncle, how did you start? Never, because you just feel, no, he was lucky. He was lucky. It can't be that he was like me. He was lucky. Ask most rich people, few individuals go to them saying, uncle, how did your journey start? We go asking and begging. Number two, we go to them looking for a job. And the moment they say there's no vacancy, you start calling them names. He's arrogant. He doesn't need his God is relative. He is this and that. He is whatever. But I've given you evidence on where you can confirm the message I'm delivering here. Go to Ibanda, go to your Kisoro, go to Arua, wherever it is. Somebody in that location has followed this message. That's the beauty about our country. So it's up to you to deny this message. But everywhere you turn and you try and check, the message will be on your face. That man. For me, I come from Teso. I don't know who comes from Teso. Anybody from Teso? Akutu. There's a man called Akutu. He was with Ochichi in primary. Akutu stopped in physics. He is now the biggest cassava grower in Uganda and the second biggest in Africa. Akutu went with the rest of it so today, IDP, internal displacements. Then went back to start one garden of cassava, then two, then three, then he finished all the family garden of about 17 acres. Then he started hiring from the neighbors. Neighbors themselves approaching him. Then later, all the prison, whatever, sub-counties would come and say, we want a lot of land and the prisoners, Akutu, can you come and hire our land? We shall give you also the what? The laborers. The man now is on over 600 acres of cassava passion. Over 600. And nobody will want to go to Akutu and just say, Mr. Akutu, how did you start? They will only go to Akutu and say, Mr. Akutu, understand you have got some shops in Soroti. Can you hire me also to work? Mr. Akutu, I have got a problem with school fees. Can you assist me with money? But to ever ask people what God was telling Solomon, because remember God's conversation with Solomon? What did he ask you for? Nobody wants to ask for that thing which is so intangible. Wisdom, what's that? What is that? Give me cash. I want to touch it. I want to touch the money. Where's my note? Where's my note? Yeah, it is here. The day you give me this, anybody who try to advise me useless, nonsense, arrogant. But this one, this is a real uncle, this one. That is my uncle. He understands. That one understands. This business of saying the best thing is wisdom, that is in the religion on Sunday. That's on Sunday. But after Sunday, on Monday, we need this. On Sunday, we can talk about wisdom. But Monday to Saturday, we want this one. It's more real than this business of So, I have spoken. What is it you can do to fit into the two things of a person who goes for riches? Let me first start by saying, getting into business or true entrepreneurship is not following our so-called common wisdom. It defies common wisdom. A true entrepreneur defies common wisdom. What is common wisdom? Common wisdom is, I need my idea to be different and unusual. Cassava is ordinary. There's nothing unusual about cassava, but that's where this fellow is making money. That's where our friends from another country that you know very well, when they arrive in Uganda, they don't come and sell things that they were selling and eating in the country where they came from. They come here and ask, what do people in Amuru eat? What do people in the desert eat? What do they buy? Everyday solutions, and they start bringing them. You go and ask another, oh, that one, what does it look like? What does it do? He immediately begins to look. The next time you go, he has got it in the shop. True entrepreneurship has got nothing with novelty. It is not about sophisticated business plan with good English. I needed to write the thing properly. I need to go to Google again. I want to go and see what is Google saying. Then you spend a day, then you go and tell somebody, then you change the English, then you change the paragraph, then you say, oh, the figures we were not adding up properly. I need to check the arithmetic of these figures. Useless, nonsense, rubbish. You are delaying. You are delaying. It is not about a special amount of startup capital. I told you about a lawyer. Did he have any cash? Nothing. But he had help. A fellow, but a lawyer, of course, many of you are smaller. This man is looking like a lawyer. You just stand up. That is the body construction of a lawyer. Come, just come. Well-trimmed. Look at the well-trimmed man. The height is so beautiful. But the center is flat. Come. Look. You stand straight. Straight and neat. This is neat. This is how a lawyer was when he was digging for 3 weeks. Removing the clay from the swamp. That is all he had at his end, but of course with a working hand. Thank you, my brother. You go. You remain good like this even when you become rich. I don't want you to overdo that part. So it's not about a special amount of startup capital. That thing is a killer. That thing is a big killer. And I will tell you something before I tell you a few rules to follow so that tomorrow is at an enterprise. But let me finish this list. It's not about a special location. A lawyer did his fish in Amuru there. And you know what a lawyer has now done? Apart from getting this money, he has built 3 houses in Gulu Town. 3. The young boy has now 52 acres of land where he plants every season soya. A lawyer now uses excavator, a machine to open more fish ponds, not easy labor anymore. He does not pick a hole even once to dig again. No, he comes to check. He comes to check, is this properly done? I told you to have done up here. Why haven't you done this? Supervising his empire. But we discussed that, say he dug himself at some point, he did it. Now he's a supervisor and people are approaching him. I did a veterinary degree. Can I become an employee and be a farm manager for your thing? The man thinks I want to pass an interview. You cannot just come with a degree and think you can get in your head. Senior 5 is taking you through a very grueling interview. And if you don't pass, it tells you did not pass. You didn't pass. So it's not about the location. It's not even about going to a sector of your professional education. Because you could be a teacher, but you could still have a pharmacy. All you need to do is to fulfill the license for pharmacy. What's one of the requirements? Hire a pharmacist. But you're a teacher, and the pharmacy will be yours, and the drugs will be well stocked. This man called the Esau. Which profession can you put on him? He simply says, me, I stopped in my primary 5. So the game changer in this game is about starting as soon as possible. But as soon as you start like that, learn on the job without stopping. I'll come to that in detail. If you do entrepreneurship well, it neutralizes your background, your history, the names people had given you, the labels they had called your family, what they called your parents, and everything changes. Then they start calling you at a young age. That's my uncle. But the person calling you uncle is a much bigger fellow, much older than you, but now telling his children, that is my uncle. Why? Why? This one now is flowing. They are looking at this one here. That is your uncle. So, this is what you need to do. How do you then move into riches? You've got to remove these two obstacles. You write these ones clearly. Remove the two obstacles. Eliminate them. The first obstacle you must eliminate if you are going to go into riches. The first obstacle you must eliminate is excuses. Those things that you mentioned to justify your inaction. If you are employed and you are a salary earner, you know one of the things you announce for failure to do business? I do not care, I'm busy. And you know what? Excuses have got something interesting about them. They have got some shade of truth. The moment you say, I'm busy, I come late, you know. Because you don't understand. You are actually a very busy doctor. Whenever we come to you, the patients are too many. The thing sounds correct. But in the same place of doctors and professors, you discover this man who has got a farm in Nakasongola. The man with one of the best ranches in the whole country is a professor of medicine. But the first thing to get into the game is eliminate excuses. If you employ, there's excuse of time, there's excuse of no good employee, there's excuse of saying I'm far away. All those will sound correct. That's the bad and painful thing about excuses. There's nothing you announce that doesn't have a sense of some bit of truth. You know, I need to get into this kind of a business, but the capital is not enough. The truth is, if you calculate, the capital actually is not enough. But should you go for that business, or you now need to do another business and take off with the business where the capital is what? Enough. When the capital grows, you can go back to the other big thing. But you have stuck on to the thing and say, you know, I need more money, but these bankers cannot give me money. It sounds correct because the truth is you need more money. The thing you should have done is to shift to another business, build up the capital. After 3 years, you can go to that business. You want to go into riches, eliminate excuses. They sound correct. Number 2 about excuses. The moment you mention them and everybody believes them, they switch off your head. They switch off the most important part of your game. And I hate to say it, but if you go to your Quran, you'll find it written there. If you go to your Bible, you find it written there. In the Bible, it's at Proverbs 23:7. It says, as man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Full stop. Don't add a degree, don't add a capital, don't add a land title, don't add uncle. Are you thinking and believing something? That's what you become. As man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Remember what I say? If you don't want to hear religion, check the thinking of a person who is richer than average where you come from. There's a way he does these things. A road has overflooded. In the morning, is getting some young people to say, come and push the road up here. Come and push. Come and push. They want my fish there. Meanwhile, the rest are saying, where's the RDC? RDC should come and see this thing. RDC, what is his work? Where is the RDC here? The fellow is busy pushing the lorry until the lorry leaves. As man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The rest of the village are waiting for the RDC. That man should be removed. We better tell the secretariat we should remove him. The road has overflooded for too long. Let's remove him. The other man has managed to deliver the Irish potatoes. They have gone to Kampala. The rest are waiting for the road to be fixed. So, what was I saying? Excuses are a big barrier to becoming an entrepreneur. You stop taking action. But the second thing you need to remove to start earning wealth that remains with you forever is what I call remove the spirit of arrivalism, mediocrity. You have started this business. You never used to have any money at all. Now you are beginning to earn 1 million per week. And your playmates, the people you are watching Premier League, are still jobless and they are admiring you and you are earning 1 million per week. They call you our great one. Do you know what you do? You settle now. Now this is okay. I get 1 million per week, I'm okay. Before you know it, our friends who come from that country I told you about, the fellow was at 1 million per week 6 months ago. 6 months later, he's on 2 million per week. You check on with him later, he is at 10 million a month. And then later, he's hitting 1 billion per year. You are still celebrating on your 1 million per what? So why? You compare yourself to the economic pygmies that used to play the Premier League with the betting and whatever. That's your basis, mediocrity. And the trouble with Africa is the majority of the people are mediocre. You just improve a little like this, you are above so many already, so many. And everybody is now bowing and calling uncle. Uncle. The uncle is earning 1 million a month. The rest are struggling to get 5,000 a month. This fellow is a hero. It is that heroism that will bluff you. We have so many economic business bluffs, many, because of this mediocrity, surrounded by people whom God is saying, I'm sending those people poverty they have never seen. Those are the fellows you compare yourself with. Mediocrity. Why don't you say, when I started at this stage, who was like me? Where are they now? If the fellow is not in your sub-county, go and compare with somebody who is in another sub-county. If you have now become the best now in your sub-county or in your district, don't stop there. Compare yourself with another person in another district. If you have now become the best in Teso, stop the nonsense. Don't you know that there are better entrepreneurs in Gulu? Befriend them. You defeat those ones. Can you associate with similar people and then keep heading for Kampala? Check Kampala here. Every year, people are being evicted. People who settled and became mediocre are being evicted by people who came from Soroti, from wherever, because they kept growing. You reach here, I find mediocres are still seated on the old story. They can't even repair a Kololo home. They must be removed. How do you remove them? They take the land back to the bank to repair the home. And they have no income to pay that kind of a loan. That house must move. They will be removed by the person who came all the way from where? Amuru. Or lawyer is going to arrive in Kampala. It's not so far from now. And he's coming to remove people in Nakasero. And he will not be doing it by force. It will be those people saying, oh, lawyer, just buy my house. I am good loan process. Just buy my house. Kindly take my house. You give me that money. The fellow will call a lawyer 5 times a day. Request a lawyer to take over his property. Mediocrity is not allowed in wealth. You settle like this, you must rust. Any rusting person must be removed with oil. We oil that place and get you out. Quickly then, what must we do? And I'm going to close with this one very fast because I want your reaction. What must you do to start this game? One, remove excuses. To remove excuses, you must develop a good business idea. A good business idea. The moment you have a good business idea, excuses must disappear. Have no capital. No, not allowed. You know, I need more money, not allowed. I need a better location, not allowed. So how does a good business idea look like? Number one, it solves the problem. It improves life of somebody. If there's a business like that, that's a good business idea. Number two, it has got a potential for a bigger market. Three, a good business idea can be bricks, it can be chapati. Three, it is the type of business you can start where you are with what you have. If that business requires you to keep on calling the uncle and reminding uncle, you know, you promised me 200,000. Now I would have taken off. I'm still waiting. Change the idea. Go to another one that fits within what you can do. Lawyer picked a hoe because he could get a hoe. Lawyer could eat cassava because he could afford to get cassava. And then he goes with water to dig. He started the thing with what he had, where he was. Number four, about a good business idea. It should be the type of business you can push into the market and start collecting money. They call that one a business you can push into liquidity. You don't first invest in money here, then the thing is at a certain stage, now you need more money for you to push it until liquidity. Or you start farming, the land is so big, you have just put all the money into seeds. You can't weed it. You can't harvest the thing. That project has not reached full completion. Go with half an acre. Take off from there. A good idea may be dull, but you need to focus on the potential contribution it makes in improving people's lives. That is good for us here in Kampala. We think, you know, I went to school. If they find me making bricks like what Chichi said, what will mommy say? There are even villagers who are also doing bricks and they're even doing better than me. Looks a darn thing. If it's contributing to somebody's solution, go on with it. Go on with it. Why? What you start with is not where you stopped. Now, the moment you have done this, you know what will happen to you? You don't wait tomorrow. You don't wait for next week. You don't need to continue again for more research. You start immediately. Because it's something within your abilities. Number two, after selecting a business which is within your abilities, this is what you need to do in terms of research. Assess the key success factors of that type of a business. Some of you have heard Chichi say, you can start with 2 chickens, and in 4 years, you'll have 2 big buses, carrying 65 passengers each one of them. And then I take you through figures which I can't do here because we have no time. You can start a business of 2 chickens, 1 female, 1 male, and a cocoa in Yankole, a cocoa nganda, a cocoa. Now, Gweno Choli or Gweno Lango, if you are speaking that language, you know. But here is the message. You run into that thing and say, Chichi say that if you start with 1 hen, 1 female, then 1 male, in 4 years, you get a bus. And he calculated that thing was correct. If you don't know the key success factor for that business, in less than 6 months, all the chicken will be dead. What are the key success factors in the chicken business, for example? 1, diseases. You must know the key ones that kill the chicken. And you know that the treatment is there and the price is so cheap. Less than 200 shillings will treat a good number of chicken. But because you are still so historical, so village, so whatever, you still leave the chicken to find out how it can treat itself. A simple disease has killed all the chicken. Then again, what do? You hand it to God. It was God's plan. That chicken had laid very good eggs. It is just God's plan that it just happened like that. Me and now, I think I'm always unlucky. What are you talking? God is saying, what did your tongue say? Harvest it. That's how it concludes that thing which says, a tongue has power to give life and death. Those who love to use it will harvest what it says. I think I'm always unlucky. True. If you are going to say like that, you know that the next chicks that your hen is going to lay, a snake is going to come and to eat them. You announced it, it's going to happen. How it happens, me, I don't know. These poor fellows talk so badly about themselves that all types of diseases surround them. So, for chicken, a key success factor is treating those diseases which are known. Another key success factor, ensuring that the eggs do not rot. Another one is ensuring that those chicks are not eaten by birds, by other wild animals. If you don't handle any of those, if you ever get a bus from that chicken, you go to chicken. It will never happen. Because the animals are waiting for your chicks and they are going to eat them. And the moment they have eaten one and you did nothing, you know what the animals do? They inform their relatives. We have a home of a poor, stupid fellows holding his hands. Tomorrow, let's all go there early in the morning. Early around, you go to the one animal coming to eat your chick. One. Because you never shouted, you never threw a stone. The animal said, this fool is so patient and nice. Let me inform all my relatives who have been feast for a week. The next day, there are 3 of them, all of them coming, each one taking a chick. Within 1 week, all the chicks are gone. And what do? You blame the hen. It went very far. This chicken goes very far. I don't know why it goes very far. I think I better eat this chicken. That's what God calls what? Stupid. And what? Lazy. And what? Folding hands. And then when he's tired, he says he's going to sleep. And how does he sleep after taking alcohol? So that he can snore. And they snore, by the way. They snore deeply. So, key success factors. How do you know that you have known the key success factors? Number 1, you are not the first to do a given type of a business. And I don't encourage you to go and be the first in a certain type of business. Please do not. There is nothing you're trying to prove. All you want to do is serve the population. If you want the bricks, give us the bricks. If you are going to move the pineapples from Kayunga to Kanakawa, move the pineapples from Kayunga to Nakawa. If you are going to be a person moving the pineapples from Kalerwe to Kitintale, please you be early in Kalerwe at 6 a.m. Buy the pineapples and take them to Kitintale. You are not the first to do that type of a business is the first message. Now, if you are not the first, these are the following things that you need to do. Number 1, understanding somebody who is doing something you're about to do. Understanding that person. Somebody has been able to build a business of selling fruits by knowing what you need to do. If you are not in the Nakasero area there, Nakasero Market Street, by 1 a.m., the first people removing the fruits from the trucks have bought. At 4 a.m., they sell to the next group who are now coming at that time. Then at 6, the next group has come. After that, the price is now going towards the retail price. If you didn't know that you have to be in that place at 1 a.m., forget that business. Forget it. But they will tell you that even when you do that, there are other things you must again take care of. Take care of this. If you don't understand those and you go to Google, go and try. Google will never tell you what 6 a.m. Never. It will just tell you the common thing. Pineapples are sweet if they have enough sunshine, if they have done this and that and that. The real thing is be at Nakasera at 1 a.m. Check whether Google will ever tell you. The person exists, or you are too educated for that kind of environment. Tone your education. Tone it down. Tone it. These fellows look at us and say these fellows are educated and they can't even know that it is just available to be done right here. Key success factors, understand someone who's doing it. That fellow, if he doesn't want to talk to you, just watch how he moves. Sacrifice his sleep and watch him. So what time does he wake up? You watch when he's opening the door, you get a boda. He's moving, you are following him. He reaches somewhere, you watch. So this is where he comes at this time. Understand the fellow is the textbook of success. Number 2, how do you know the key success factors? Talk to his key employee. And a key employee just go and buy the thing and just say, you man, your pineapples are always the best. How do people manage? Oh, for us, we know how to pick the best pineapples. By this hour, you get the best. Then those ones, we take them to the Serena, we take those ones to Sheraton, we take those ones this way. Then the rest, we now bring them here. The employee knows so much about that business, sometimes more than the owner. But do you bother to talk to him? He looks as if he doesn't know English. Your roadblock is English. The man is not speaking English. And he's also looking at you as being financially illiterate. You are having good English, but financially you are what? Illiterate. Which one's better? So friends, talk to key stuff. Number 3, how do you know the key success factors? Every business has got its suppliers. The people who supply pineapples will tell you, we supply Kalerwe, we supply Nakasebo. Now, those fellows will be supplying somebody in Kalerwe who normally goes to Serena, goes where, and they talk. From you, because I supply Serena. So you bring mine this way, bring mine this way. Then the fellow now knows. So now he has the key success factors on how to go to a premium market. For you're here saying, this is Serena fellows are too arrogant, they don't like the local people. These are useless. Go and do the homework. Another Ugandan who has no English knows how to supply Serena. And if you are to talk to the supplier, he will tell you, there are pineapples here for upmarket. There are pineapples here for students. There are pineapples here for our 1IG also who are just trying to place a pineapple. And it's also good. It's not rotten, but not as nice as the other one. It's getting to almost what you call expiry date. But it's still a good pineapple. That the supplier knows all those market segments. Oh, you are just coming to buy pineapples. Try it. You make a mistake right from the time when you're buying the raw materials. The suppliers would have guided you. You don't want to talk to them. Finally, talk to subject experts. In every sector, there are people who have advised people in a particular area. How do you prolong the life of a pumpkin? How do you prolong the life of an avocado? Because the season for avocado is about to get finished. The experts will guide you. And for that period when you are the only one supplying the avocado, the price is 4 times. And the expert has given the guidance. And all you need is basic payment. Basic payment. And you are here saying, me, I did agriculture. We cannot guide me. He cannot guide me. This fellow has practical, applicable experience. Remember, the first one was a practical idea. Now that you have gotten a practical idea, don't be in a hurry until you have done this homework here. The moment you have done the things that I've just mentioned, distill them to no less than 7 points and see how to fulfill them. What are the 7 things I must know? They can be 5, they can be 4. What are those 4? Did you know that in Uganda here, if you know the key success factors to produce business, you confirm you can make 10 million in January to become 40 million in December. Which commodity can you do that in the whole world? In Africa, you can do that by just trading in beans or maize. Maize at the peak period, it's at 400 shillings or 500 shillings. Today, maize is at 1,100. How many months do you have to wait? 3 months. Is maize a special thing? Nothing. It's a mere grain. A mere grain. Now, when the maize is not in season, there's another crop which is in season. So as you remove the money from here and you take another crop, by the time you are reaching 12 months, 10 million is 40 million. It can only happen in Africa. It can only happen in Africa. But the point is success factors. Because the moment you miss the peak season for buying the crop, the price goes up. The moment you are not able to now to store the crop properly, the rotting just takes away your profits. The moment you don't know how to control people who steal from the store, all the profit is taken. All those are key success factors. And you must pay the price. Next, as I close, Now that you know the ideal business, you know the key success factors, you must start. And as you start, what must you continue doing? Remember the keyword here, customer, 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 customer. And the customer has got expectations. You thought he was only buying this big one. He was buying thinking that that's all you had. If you talk to him a bit more and told him that, is this normal the size? No, you know, when the students have gone away, I want the smaller but sweet ones. That is learning from the customer. So the third thing you need to do is all the time remain a learner. The moment our friends from the Asian countries arrive here, the only thing they come with is a desire to keep learning. They learn, they learn, they learn, they learn, they learn. But as they learn, they keep on improving their records, they analyze their records, they keep on picking the lessons from those records. Does an African do records? No. He is better than the neighbor. He is celebrating. Why should I keep records? Mediocrity has eaten the 12 and he cannot learn. Whatever you learn, apply. Learn again. Apply again, then learn again. Non-stop until you leave this planet. An entrepreneur who ceases learning, his game is taking off. Any other who ceases learning, because no matter whether you're employed or you're a business owner, the only thing keeping you in that game is a customer. A customer has got changing interests. A customer is being competed for by a competitor without your knowledge. You stop learning, you're in trouble. Whether you're employed, whether you're in business, you must go. Oh, I wish there was a way I could catch each person's neck and just say, are you here or chichi? Because it makes me feel like, what do I need to do to rescue this country? When you see our Ugandans lining up at the Entebbe airport, wearing blue and white, heading to do a job somewhere. When you see our Ugandans saying, you know what, Daddy, if you stopped me from selling that land, me, I'm going to the land office, to the immigration office, I want that passport. You must give me that land. I want to sell those 2 acres of land. And the old man is threatened with death. Which LOC 5 will stop him from selling that land? Which LOC 1 will stop the poor fellow from responding to the poor young man who is saying, Daddy, if I don't sell the 2 acres, I want to go and get my passport. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. And where he's going to, he's not even aware of any terms and conditions. You try to stop him, you had better get security yourself. Because that young man is going to give you security at home. I want to go and you're stopping me from going. So this message, I feel like, that's why I was telling the Secretary General that please, if these fellows are going to come, please, I wish I could get a way of injecting them with the vaccination of anti-poverty vaccination. But I don't have that kind of hope. I would have just said, come your battles, open the battles, and I vaccinate and you go, vaccinate and you go, vaccinate and you go. But the science is not yet there. By now, I would be doing the last battles by this time because we've been here for quite a while. I would have already done a few of them and said, now you go and be rich. Boom, go and be rich. Boom, go and be rich. So, whatever I'm saying here, I told you, there's a way you can confirm. What religious books, what the rich person you know in your country, or your district, or your sub-county, whatever church is saying here, they will tell you exactly that that's what I did. But I began to learn those things 10 years after many losses. You have been told those things within 1 hour of being in Chadondo. That was point number 3. The first one was a good business idea. Second was key success factors. Number 3, never stop learning. And whatever you learn, it's only useful when you do what? Apply it. If you sing about what it means to raise chicken, you need to vaccinate them after 3 weeks. You need to do this and that, and you are not having chicken to vaccinate. Useless nonsense. Rubbish. What are the other two words that were given to the fellow who didn't make one to come to? There were two W words. Who remembers them? One was what? Worthless. The second word was what? Wicked. Wicked. So that was number 3. Number 4. How do you move from where you are today to what this young man is doing? Number 4. Remain ambitious, non-stop. Set a goal. Accomplish it. Set a higher one. Even if all the neighbors are praising you and they are saying you are really the richest here, you set a higher one. Leave them behind. Why? You don't belong where they are. Your competition is moving from that village to the sub-county headquarters. From there, you are moving to the county headquarters. From there, you are moving to the district headquarters. From there, you are moving to one of the 10 cities. You know, we put cities everywhere now. Don't leave yourself in this same place where you're a hero. And you know why you should do that quickly? There's one word that is a definition of Africa. And it's a definition of poverty environment. And that word is jealousy. As you begin to move to 1 million, and these fellows who are calling you uncle at night, they are wishing you could have problems. They are wishing if you got an accident, want to know, was the accident big enough to cause major injuries? The very fellows who have been coming to get something from you, then they hear he got an accident. This, that fellow was living, and everybody was saying, why are you not like so and so? You are such a problem to them, much as they come and beg. But this was your friend, how come he has left you behind? Yeah, that one has been assisted by uncle in Kampala. So he goes away knowing that he has told a lie. So at night he just wishes he could get something bad happens to this fellow who's been used to make him look bad. So kindly, rule number 4 says, remain ambitious non-stop, and it's where your own good. These fellows who are jealous of you, they are jealous because you used to be like them. 2, they know how you used to be and even worse than them. Now you are leaving them behind and people are talking. The moment you begin to now sell beyond the local market, you disappear for 2 weeks, you're in Mbale, you're in Kampala, then you come back. You know what? They turn their jealousy amongst themselves. Now, when you return now, you're a true uncle this time now. When you return, you say, Uncle, I was in Mbale. We've been praying for you at least, Uncle. Uncle, here we have a challenge. You need to keep on encouraging us. Because now you are beyond their reach.
Yeah.
You are beyond their reach. You can afford not to be in their location. By merit.
Yes.
You can afford to shift.
Yes.
On merit. And so they just know this one now, we can't. Let's just call him uncle and get something out of him. Finally, if you want to become rich young people, let the riches be organic. They must have an element of you yourself having multiplied them. If you get resources from anybody, the only way you confirm that those resources deserve to remain with you is expand them yourself. What do I mean by that? Whatever capital you started with, if you started with the 10,000 today, you sell, at the end of the day, you have got 15,000. Do not spend 11,000 at the end of the day. Because you're not even 11. Because if it has gone up to 15, do not spend even 6,000 because you have eaten into part of your capital. The capital has gone down to 9. Because you spent 6,000. The first rule is preserve your capital at all times. The second rule is learn to save and reinvest at least 50% of the profit that you got. If you do this, and you do not begin to see wealth knocking on your door, Ochichi's number is known, and I give it liberally. Write it down, 0772 699 808. I give you this number for 2 things. 1, when you have challenges when you have gotten started and you are alone and people are laughing at you, Because when you leave here, they say, what the teacher said was correct. We are going to start. You know, they are waiting for you outside. Say, where were you? I was at the NRM. Did they give you money? No, they brought the teacher to talk. Now that is useless. And then you start giving chicken. The next day the chicks are like, oh, we told you. That's not how to become rich. You need a phone call to call a teacher and just say, this is what I'm going through. Mr. Chichi, what is it that I can do to pick up the pieces? I'm lonely. I've been judged. These fellows are proving their prediction right. But they're saying, we're waiting to see you. You went there and they just told you to go and listen to Chichi. Did they give you anything? How about water? Then you are so paid about such a big thing, not knowing what you have just gotten. Not only will you be able to look after yourself, you will be the fellows to change this country. Have you heard this word FDI, foreign direct investors? We should now change that to DDI, domestic direct investors. And you have that right and that opportunity to occupy that space, and you can do it. So friends, organic growth requires that preserve capital, but don't just preserve capital, put back at least 50% of your profit. And all the personal expenses that you have must be within 50% of the profit. Why? That 50% keeps growing if the capital keeps growing. How does the capital keep growing? It keeps growing because you did not eat all the profit. You put back part of it. So the next capital is a bit bigger. Then again bigger. Meaning even the money that you are now eating is also growing. And it's also growing because you're eating 50% of the profit. Friends, it's such a long afternoon. I want to leave it here and just say, what a wonderful time to interact. And there are many, many more topics we can always share on, including how to access a loan and succeed in paying that loan. There are many other topics. But please, Uganda belongs to us, and it is our responsibility to change it, to build it. Thank you very much indeed.
Wow. Asante sana. Yongeza sana. That was a very good lecture from Mr. Charles Otichi, our senior Mr. Charles Otichi. Thank you very much for this. You know, when those who do business courses know it very well, this is a full semester of 3 months being taught in just an hour of a lecture. And I believe we are bright students. How many have picked? The online audience, we thank you so much. We've been seeing your comments coming through, and I'll be reading them shortly. All right, Honorable, allow me to recognize the team of Yellow Power. Is right here with us. Please stand up for recognition, please. Clap for them, please. We have thank you very much. We have your seats. We have a team from RESIS, Salon Operators. They've always been here with us, and they love this clinic so much. Please stand up for recognition. So smart in their uniforms. Then we have our team from the ghetto. Yo, Right, Honorable, allow me to put this to your notice. Ghetto oil! Ghetto oil! Ra! Nalongwana. Right, Honorable, allow me to put this to your notice. Those brothers of mine from the ghetto, today morning, they were in the ghetto itself and down in town, cleaning, doing community work. We call it in Uganda, and really, thank you so much for putting on that yellow uniform and showing the world and the country that yes, NRM is the way forward. Thank you so much, and I thank you so much. We have our brother from Rotaract, Mr. Philip. Mr. Philip contacted me, and Mr. Chichi is requesting for an invite. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Without going far, I'm going to go in the time of questions and answers. If you have a question, I'll pick 4 people because of time. You know, most of our people use borders and the curfew time is 6 o'clock for the borders. So I want to pick Asafu Kanyama, you know what I mean? A lady and a gentleman. So please, who's holding the microphone? Start with a gentleman there. The political vibrator is here. Start with political vibrator.
Thank you very much, moderator. My name is Robinson. As usual, the most prominent NRM supporters in the northern part of the country. I was so much impressed with the presentation of Mr. Chichi. He really touched all the important aspects. I only rise up to agree with one important aspect, that we are not so much dedicated as a people to fight for our space in the economic field. For lack of better words, I would precisely say we are lazy to some extent. I want to draw an example. I was following through your profile. You did your MBA from the UK. I was privileged to be in Germany for some 2 good years. I could see how the Germans work for their economy. Not everybody was fighting to work in office with computers and etc. I made a mistake of asking colleagues whom I was sharing hostels with them. I realized everybody was a cook. Other people were applying salt in the petrol station, and all of them were casual laborers in clubs. But the way they are commuted at 6 in the morning, the train is full, people are sleeping heading to the city center. But come to Uganda. Let's say tomorrow Mr. Chichi is inviting all of us to go to Serena for something that can give us 200,000 each one of us at 10 o'clock. Believe it or not, we are 300 people here. But at 10, you realize there are only 180 people. But you say this in Germany, at 10, 300 people invited 300 attendants. So by now, at the end of the day, we start blaming the economy, we start blaming the government. I do some small engagement in Karamoja. So sometimes I'm busy in Kampala and would look for a few Karamojans in my vicinity that come and do for me this work. I give you 20,000 a day. I've changed more than 40 volunteers. They will work for 2 days. The third day, I'm not feeling well today. A little bit of flu. But now when you go back to Karamoja, he wants to come to your office and beg. But I said, how nice is it to come and beg for money? Yet I've given you an opportunity to get 20,000, even if you register only 1 or 2 or 3 people. So naturally, Ugandans want to just come and beg for money and you give them. If you give them an opportunity to work for the money, nobody is interested. So I do believe that from the point of race, let us begin from ideological shift, mind change. Let's love work that gives us money. Then we look for the work. But if we still don't love work, it is total waste of time. So Mr. Chichi, from today on, with the inspiration you gave me, I'm going to volunteer to join the race with you in amplifying the voice of putting sense into the minds of Ugandans, whether for free or I will be hired also as you in the villages. I will make sure that they understand that we should work, work, and work. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Robinson. Yes, sir. Let's try to be brief.
Thank you so much. MC, General Secretary, our guest Chichi. I'm so glad to attend your class again. The time I attended your class, I got some knowledge from it. That's where we extracted RESES from. RESES stands for Raise Investors, Save Easily, Serve Importantly. Thank you so much, Mr. Charles Ochichi. And the Saloon people now, we are embracing from your knowledge. That is great. And another supplement, I'm a product of Jesse Muyingo. And when you mentioned how we used to take us for coaching, I remember that time. And now he's a prominent businessman. And we have followed the footsteps. And I was in employment world. I used to be employed. But when I saw, I never wanted to be commanding. That's when I went in an environment of being self-employed. Now we are running a salon, but we are earning more than the people who are employed. So these words, please members, entrepreneurship is always good. Follow it, you reach where you want. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the directors. Representative. Thank you so much. NRM Oil. That's good. Last time we were here on a similar lecture on mindset change. We did a lot. Today we are on another one. And I think those who are here last week and now, we are not the same. Is that true? I want to thank the Secretary General for transforming this place. I think we are heading in a good direction. Now I was in FTC before, but this is how we used to be the arrangement contact. Mobilize market vendors, those local people in town, and give them these lectures free of charge. And anybody who got an idea of the work of Israel's life is not go back to anything. So what you are doing is the best mobilization you can get. Don't come here and fix an idea that improves his life or family or anything. You will never go. To be deceived, to be used, and done. I want to thank you for this, and I would suggest we train trainers. We do TOT so that Mr. Chichi cannot go everywhere in Uganda. Uganda is so big. The people who come here and they just start, go and make them, train them again to go and preach this message. The other message of mindset change can be replicated, trained to NRM cadres, and they take it out to the fields. Everyone in his own area. And you become the agent this country needs. Please pick that and coordinate it very well. Let us not go for mediocrity, which you talked about. You start a small business and then you are a boss and it dies. Let us know how to move it up so that the seed that has been planted today does not die. Okay? I want to once again and reiterate this information that what we are doing is an idea whose time has done what? Has come. And you must never drop it. Thank you very much. And please keep it up, Mr. Secretary General. But I would like also to request you, this is not an SG show. I would be glad to see the chairman of entrepreneurs here. I would like to see the mobilizers, the big shots of this place, not to see you seated alone here, as if you work alone. Let these people come on board, and everybody fix for in the department, and it goes and implements for the good of NRM party. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Prince. Kind words. Yes, please, let's go to the back. There was a lady at the back, Christine and Carol. Yes. Christine? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Good evening, members. Christine, I am very impressed with the topic today. Very much impressed. But I will talk about the challenge. I would like to come up with some solutions to the problem we are facing. I work with the bus company, but we find challenge with adverse tax. advance tax. What does it mean? A tax that is taken after before an income is paid. That's one thing. The second is what we call cost management. How is it cost? How are you going to help us as young generation, as young entrepreneurs, come up to know how cost management is very important? We shall talk about saving culture. It's very important. And it's a very important word. How do I know that saving is more important than investing? There are some challenges as current compared to the old. We have seen very many people getting successful based on the past environment compared to the current. We are mixed up with the pandemic outbreak. We are mixed up with so many challenges. We have seen a tire increasing, the cost of the tire increasing. We have seen the cost of fuel high, the skyrocketing price of the fuel. Me, I speak on this because it is my best that I have, because I started this business when I was 16 years. But to the best of my knowledge, we ran up these businesses and we found out that our bosses, every year, 2 years, buses are collapsing, bus companies are collapsing. In the industry of transportation, we could be having the best organization company. The reason they break rules, failure to meet their rules. So, but we look at the scenario where people are not given subsidies, but they're operating and increased taxes. Every day, their licenses are very high. You can't get a license without an advance tax. They make a PCP to match with an advance tax. The income you have not earned. Today you are driving a machine. Just from here to the gate, you get a petrol. What do you do? The advance tax 1.5 million shillings. It's already taken. You have not earned it. Means you took it alone as a loan, but how do I pay that? Let's look at that. Please. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for the time.
No.
Okay.
Good afternoon. How is everyone? I would like to thank the Secretary General for bringing the gentleman, Mr. Ochichi. I need a background check, and for you to meet that guy, for you to bring this kind of lecture, you must pay a lot of money. But we are here for free. We are really grateful. Yes. Now, my issue regards small businesses. Every day, I'm a woman. We women save up a few hundreds of thousands and then we start a business. I'd like to ask, based on experience, I have a lot of like 5 friends that have had their business raised down because of mixing emotions and business. You're dealing in food industry like a bar, a restaurant. Baby loves you. He comes by with his friends, 5 leaders. I've known 5 people, 3 of whom have lost their businesses to the same nigger, and he will come and be like, wow, the barrier killed in Nigeria. I'd like you to enlighten us. How on earth? Because these are women who have maybe had 3 children with 3 different men, then they leave this one out and love them. Like, who loves them? Yes. Attention. So basically, and then I would also like you to give us a way of surviving in businesses that are mostly rendered for me. Because you talked about dealing pineapples. I've dealt pineapples during the lockdown. Buses were down, I dealt pineapples. Yeah. And they make a good amount of money. But the question is, circumstances where if you are supposed to go to a place at 1 a.m. and you are in it, should you just leave that business or walk out when you come? Yes. So those are my 2 issues.
Thank you very much. Bring the microphone right here to our mama here, this mobilizer. Yes, mama. I think this will be our last one. It's our last. Thank you so much.
Praise the living God. Praise the living God. I want to thank God in a special way. And I want to thank our Secretary General. Sebo okukwebaza okoze bulungi kutuletera Mr. Chichi. I love Ochichi so much because for me, I want to give a testimony. One day, I was just doing cleaning services at Umasho ground. I could go and ask people roofing. They consider me when there is a trade show, I clean their store. Then I went to Arab, they consider me, I clean their store. But one day, Ochichi organized and trained us at Umasho ground. Yeah? And he gave me a skill. And from that day, I started my own business. Now, I want to thank God. Now I have a company called the Cody's Massive Wedding Decorator and Orange Day. Because of the teacher. So, I'm thinking for Uganda, we have like 20 Ochichi. Uganda could be very far. Because when I hear about Ochichi, I just give God to the Almighty God. God gave you wisdom, you thank God for that. Even here, I have a certificate, Enterprise Uganda, signed by OTT. Then again, there is another testimony which you don't know. When I started doing a business of decoration, I approached your office, I met Stella and another lady. They said that, do you know how to decorate? Then I said, yes. I have been decorating when you organize global enterprise. Yes, I am there, your decorator. I can decorate a place where 500 people attend because of your skill. So even now, I wanted just requesting, I give you my business card. And now another testimony. My manager of my company, I don't have all of certificate, but my manager of my company, she have a degree in Makerere Business School. And again, I have my son. She have a degree in Bachelor of Microfinance, but she also have the certificate of OTT. He went and he trained. And then before lockdown, my son was doing a business and his business was so successful because of Chichi. I have my daughter. She has also your certificate. So Ochichi, I just want to request you, I give you my business card and I give it to the Secretary General. What is the matter? Wedding equipment and all day.
Thank you very much. As Mama is giving all those business cards to the Right Honorable Secretary General and to Mr. Charles Ochichi, there are few comments Mr. Ochichi mentioned when he was in his presentation. He said DTI, domestic direct investment. Okay, and he also mentioned FDI, foreign direct investor. Let's change from the FDI to the DDI, and also worthless and wickedness. Those are things that irritate him. Mr. Chichi, I for one don't wanna, I'm a farmer. When I was at the university in Niger, right when I paid my own fees, I would take my cassava to Harare by 3 a.m. all the way from Mayuge, and by 5 I'll finish selling it. People are in jam going back home, and yeah, I'm going back with bundles of money in my pocket. So I believe agriculture is also the way, and don't despise that work. I always tell people that work creates white collar jobs. A degree is important when you don't have it, but when you have it, you will know it is your brain that's more important than the degree. Right Honorable, allow me to go online. We have a few people online who have been able to interact with us. We have Francis, local Francis from Nabilatu district. Big thanks to the NRM for organizing this ideological clinic. How I wish more of these workshops be put to the what? To the ground. Thank you very much. We have Mwedizi. Good evening to you all. It's my first time to be part of this. How may be a regular participant with me? How may I believe it was a typing error by her. How may I be a regular participant of this clinic? Please, we are on every week. Unfortunately, this is the last clinic for this year, 2021. We shall resume next year. Thank you very much. We have Enoch. It's a very good initiative from our party. How I wish the party can expand the services to the local people, since some of the youth in this country may not be able to attend on Zoom. If the program can zero down to the parish level. Thank you so much. The right honorable has taken note of that. Enoch. We have Zizu Musa. Zizu Musa, I'm very thankful for the great work our mother party is doing. Please keep the spirit and also involve us in the diaspora. In the diaspora, NRIM Lipopo, Province Chairman. Thank you very much from the diaspora. We love you so much. Keep the comments coming in through. And Vanessa, hello everyone. Female Lead Councillor Gulu City attending from here. Regards to those in Gulu, we love you so much in Gulu. We have David, well done, right honorable. I'm also the male youth councillor, Kawanda Sub-County in Zimbabwe. Everybody know what it is, we have Mary, and I like the presentation. These presentations can change many Ugandans. Thank you so much. And we have Anne again. Thank you, organizer, for giving me a chance to listen to Mr. Ochichi. I remain Don Vincent Buana. That has been it all. I'll invite Mr. Ochichi to wrap up with your comments and questions, and we'll hand over back to the right honorable secretary for closing remarks. Thank you very much.
I know the evening is done, and I will not take any more time from you. I've given you my telephone number for in-depth interaction. I always report in my office by 7:30 a.m. and I do morning business clinics at Lumumba Avenue, Enterprise Uganda offices. 7:30 a.m. you give me a call, I give you an appointment. Up to 8:45, I give Ugandans business, individualized business clinics. So laziness, please, laziness is not wanted for an adult. If you are an adult, the question I want you to answer is, who is your customer? You are having a job. That job is not because of the person who interviewed you. There's a person you are supposed to serve. Is the person you are supposed to serve happy? No matter what position you are in, a teacher, what? Laziness, replace it with one thing. Never try to please your boss or your supervisor. Quietly please the customer. For a teacher, it is the student. For that restaurant, it is the person coming to take the tea. Even if your boss has delayed, did you make your customer happy? If you pick this, laziness must go away. Number two, this man went into a saloon business. May I confirm? Did you do saloon as a diploma or a degree before you started the saloon?
No, I just went to keep the food. I went to someone's salon.
Yes.
I learned how to shape.
That's what I knew. I knew.
Then I get to.
I knew this man.
And some people don't have a DIT certificate.
Look at that.
Go for it.
We stop ourselves from entering any sector ourselves. The very things I talked about, key success factors, he followed them. 3 years from now, this man will own buses. 4 years from now, this fellow will be owning, or 10 years from now, will be owning a mall. So, never underestimate getting started. Transformative mobilization must eliminate mediocrity. And I want this not just for the party called NRM. For you as an individual, you have got relatives, you have got friends. If you are the one who has become mediocre because you are better than an average person around you, tonight, apologize to yourself. Speak to the mirror and tell the fellow you are seeing in the mirror that you fellow, there are two words you must avoid: wickedness and worthlessness. And that is when you see mediocrity, you must eliminate it. The issues about taxes, this one can only be picked by the authorities in here, and they can be subject for discussion. Because licenses are actual advanced tax, as Madam said. Saving, how important is saving? I would tell you this. If you have gone into business because the uncle assisted you to get some money, and you have not made progress, ask yourself, when I did the business yesterday, did I get customers? If you made sales, the capital you used yesterday, first of all, is it still preserved? 2, what profit did you make? If you ate it all, you are not going to become rich, no matter how much money you have been given, even at zero interest. I will say this: at the top of a mountain, you can get capital at zero interest. If you have never learned how to make a profit, and from the profit, put part of it back into the business, you save it and put back into the business, forget about riches. You can be called Joseph, double Joseph, as a Christian. You will not be rich. You will not be. So saving is simply integral to every successful entrepreneur. Business with emotions. My sister, thank you so much for making it so direct. This business of mixing the business with those so-called warm, hot emotions. No customer comes to buy what you are having because you have got a partner. We come to buy because of the solutions you are selling. My message that I'll come and share at a certain point again is that systems. Where systems will be saying, me as a Chichi, I will not touch the sales of today. Might as it is me who is keeping it. This is sales must be banked in that. At the end of the month, I have my salary of 800,000. If I've got emotions I want to share around left and right, be from the 800,000. Never take the fool to the capital. Separate. Did you know that you follow that rule when you're employed in another place? But the moment a business shows, you break all the rules. When you're an employee in another place and you're selling cement, you don't give that the sales to your so-called boyfriend. You get scared. In fact, the whole night you feel sleepless because you'll be caught. You're stealing. But now, because the business is called yours, you steal without emotions of being a thief. I've always told people two things. The number one capital for any business to succeed is the person. But the number one thief of business capital is the owner. Please, you are moving with the thief. You need enough systems to control the thief. As you walk and touch that money, do you know that money, part of it is for the suppliers? Part of that money is for paying rent, but it's you are calling it my money. The word my money, we tell people in our trainings, never call business money my money, because you're telling the brain it's time to steal. And steal without any emotions of being a thief. The worst and the most wicked thief is the owner of the business. Sister, thank you for sharing. We move with thieves, and everywhere from front up, all these are thieves. They stole from where? Their own businesses. The biggest stealing is from the owner. Business for women, let me tell you this. Every business has got key success factors. If the business needs you to go to Nakasura at 1 a.m., pay a Kanyama, please put you there. Tell the fellow, please, we are going to get the pineapples. Please, escort the fellow. You will get, if the institute is the issue, there's always a solution. Don't despise any business. Our brother here started the cassava thing, and then the message is that has been added here is let's grow the thing right up the parish level. The conversation must begin somewhere, but let's keep rolling it. SG, thank you so much for your contribution to interact with your team, and I think this is the moment for you to talk to your people and give them a good evening.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can we clap better than that? Have you benefited from this lecture?
Yes.
Are you happy?
Yeah, sir.
Do you need more of Mr. Charles' lecture?
Yes.
You need more?
Yes. Another rap.
Oh, we shall invite you again next year. I don't want to dilute the good words that they mentioned. When I first interacted with Mr. Okichi, I was a member of parliament. I invited him to come and give a community lecture to my people. And that lecture changed my constituency for good. And it was mainly about enterprise selection, about the savings, and about the investment. To the rural people. And if the rural ones can listen, how about you in Kampala? Not in the other, but Kampala. He mentioned some punchlines that I just want to repeat to take home. Businesses that we do, the money that we keep are not our money. These are monies that people entrust to us. So you are in a business, but the money you're having must be plowed back. It is somebody's money and other people's money. He talked of capital versus owners. I have not known that. The biggest thief is the owner of the business. There were questions that were asked about, yes, it's true, we have quite a number of activities that could not have allowed all my colleagues to be here with us this time. We have by-elections in Kayunga, we have other activities from yesterday we have been doing. So most of my senior colleagues that we work with here are out in the field. That is why I am alone. But otherwise, they always come and attend. Are we together? Yeah. So please forgive them, they will be coming to attend. They are part of this. The others that I need to start from the beginning of Mr. Okiki's lecture. He was talking that I am talking to the energy of the country. Did you pick that word? Yes. When he was starting his presentation, to the energy of the country. Many of you are very young people. You are the energy. He is talking to the future of the country. Something that struck me so well and I started thinking through was that big people have lost big jobs and have been reduced to nothing. I don't want to say much, but this statement, I wouldn't want to say more than what I should say, but to find, for example, an MP, a member of parliament, who has been in the parliament for 5 years. After 5 years, he's running to look for another job, which pays him 801 million shillings. That is the testimony of this calculation. All these money that people earn, if you don't have this entrepreneurial skill to invest the money, it's useless. That is what is communicated. I'd rather be in the private sector than in an office. Because private sector is a continuous learning up to the grave. But the office, if you're in civil service, by the time you get 65, you must retire. So you retire and go to what? That is what they say. And the nature of civil service, by its definition, in the doctrines of governance, is that you are a civil servant, meaning You are not an entrepreneur, you don't do anything. The salaries they give you is just for consumption and to keep you going to continue working. Full stop. They tax you, you transport yourself to work, you have to feed yourself and work, you have to rent, you have to do what. So the cost attached to your earning cannot allow you to invest. That is why many people are leaving formal employment to private sector. That's what he was telling us. So for those who are still seeking and trying to enter formal jobs, people are leaving formal jobs to private sector. When the president gives us the 4 sectors, services, all those sectors that he keeps giving us for employment, that is what he's talking about. The population of Uganda is 45 million. Of the 45, about 400 and something thousand are employed by government, meaning the rest should look for jobs outside government. Our universities, we keep graduating children to a tune of about 120,000 every year, every academic year. It's like a processing machine. We are sending out people to the market, and there are no jobs. You need to start being critical and start thinking. And that is why I always, may I request my 2 sisters from the ghetto to stand up. I want to introduce you to this audience again, once again. Mr. Ochichi, these 2 ladies, these are graduates. Christian studied development, business administration from MOOCs. Uganda Christian University, Mukono. My sister from Kalake, you're from Kalake? Otoboe, Akiranyo. She is a professional accountant. She did the 2 stage in CPA. But the 2 have left their degrees and are brokers at the bus stop. That is the kind of mindset. And they have fitted so well in that world that if you ask them now, they will tell you even more about the bus owners' problems. Exactly. They know more about the business than the owners of the buses. When I ask them that, do you feel you can own buses? They say, no. We are still pursuing what we are doing. So thank you so much. And this is the kind of examples. And then plus this in the saloons and my friends here. Every job has a timeline. Formal jobs. Every formal job has a timeline. Some of the richest people never saw a primary school. Are we together? These are words I was speaking from him and I was taking note. There is a group of these rich businessmen. They are called what? Something. How many of them are degree holders? Hey, do you know them? People started by bringing spares from Japan, going to the second market, doing this. Now they own arcades. They own arcades. Where are the graduates? Where are the people with good English? When we used to call ourselves and material that we are the cream de la cream, we are the top layer of society. Whoa, whoa. And that is where there is a problem. You leave the university because you have been trained, you have been taught that you should get common jobs, and there are no common jobs. My office is full of CVs of graduates. And you know the most dangerous thing? You give someone just a piece of paper to write a small concept note, the person cannot write. To write an application, the person cannot write. And he's a graduate. That is the dilemma. But you, who is in the private sector, you are growing gradually. And that is what is telling us. There was another one that I think which I want to emphasize on. This one I just love. One's poverty holds a particular community. I don't know whether poverty is a male or female. He or she holds them firmly That poverty will hold you families. The private sector is open to those who are educated and those who are not educated. The game of private sector is brutal. Were you picking those words? The game is brutal. There is no sorry. There is no court of appeal. You fail to perform, you are out. You sleep hungry. You have nowhere to go. That is how rough and brutal private sector is. When my sister Christine came to me, I asked her, "You a lady, how are you managing this lifestyle?" You know what she told me? Christine, can I share that later? Can I share what you told me? She told me the first thing she did was to join a boxing club.
Oh my God.
To manage that rough environment. You mess up with me, I mess up with you. That is the world she's in.
Key success factor.
Because that area is brutal.
Yeah.
They don't care whether you're a lady, whether you're a male, whether you're what. It's life and death. These are lessons for those who are in offices looking for salaries. We shall all end up there. If you are born in a family of poverty, it is not your fault. But if you remain in poverty, it is your fault. Did you remember that?
Yes.
I'm sure we are all the same here. Is there anybody here from a rich family? You might be the only one from your village in Kampala. And the whole village is waiting for you. Don't be the village hero. Christmas is coming, Mr. Chichi.
Yeah.
People are shopping for Christmas. You are going to the village for Christmas and you terrorize the whole village. You end up consuming your capital, your profit. You come back to Kampala in January, you're back to square zero. It will happen. The whole year you have been working, saving. You pick the next bus to the village. You reach the village, your comrades in the village will be the first to welcome you. Laughing the first day, the second day, laughing the third day, you're drinking, eating the fourth day, even your transport to bring you back to Kampala is finished. You come back to Kampala, you start from zero. You again save for another year to go back and consume, then come back to Kampala. That was how my community was before you came to the nation. We used to have village saving groups. People would save for Christmas. The village saving boxes will be open in December. They will enjoy the money to Christmas. The remaining money will go for funeral rites in January. February, when the rains are about to come, there is no money in the book. When the children are going to school, there is no money. People start paying. Then they start another cycle, saving for Christmas. Then his lecture came and changed the whole, and that was the magic bullet. We went to the district council and put a bylaw that all saving boxes must be opened by end of February. And that was how the community changed. Because they started getting money. The switch is in your brain. You mentioned it somewhere. There is always time once the brain commits. This thing, the brain. Once it commits, you will always have time. We should avoid quick fix. This is very, very common with our young people from universities. You are out of the university, you get your first job, you're earning maybe 700,000, 600,000. You want to drive the best car in the market, you want to go and stay in the best apartment. Your income cannot sustain your lifestyle, and you start living in debt. You even borrow for consumption, like you said. You're in a rented house, you have got a car on a salary loan, you want to furnish, you want to live up there, and your salary cannot sustain you. Then you start these small things we call corruption. Trouble. The whole time you're in public service, you might be fired from office with a disgrace, you're back to zero. You start selling the car, moving from the apartment you're renting, to a slum, you are being beaten there, you're back to drinking, your graph gets to lower. Move steadily, slowly. Don't live to impress people. Don't live to impress people. Be yourself. If you eat 1 meal a day, that is what you can afford. Don't go to areas you cannot afford. If possible, even pack your dinner from home and you avoid having lunch in town. Because town, how much is a plate of food in town? 5. 10,000. Last time I asked you how much is a bottle of beer. Depends on where you buy it from. If we take the lowest 3,500, how many of you drink beer? You just taste it. Now imagine in a day you take 3 bottles. Just imagine in a day you take 3 bottles, isn't it? That is how much money? 10,000. No, let's go by ratio of 10. 10,000 times with the 3 bottles, 10 times 7 days of the week, that is 70,000. 70,000 times 4 for the 1 month. You are in a rate of about 300 something thousand. 80. 280. 208 only, you call it only. And what is your income? And that is just for drinking. You are drinking, you want the chigere, you want the other one, you want the other one. You have smartphone, you are buying data, you get it. And when you have this is small community phone, because you see, when you have a smartphone or community, the calling rates are the same. If you know you cannot afford a smartphone of 700,000, go for a community of 80,000. All you need is to communicate. If you need a smartphone, let the business buy it for the business. But not for, now you have, someone has just left the university, he wants the latest phone, not only one, he has 2 phones. Do you see the kind of what I'm talking about? You have 2 smartphones, all of them, one is for Airtel, another is for MTN, they are all on WhatsApp. The whole day you are gossiping, abusing on WhatsApp. You are not doing any serious work. The data is finished, you are loading data to continue conversing. How are you? How is there? NRM is this, NRM is that. Evening gone, you are sitting in the same place. It is something that we need to continue preaching. The others you have had, and I'm so grateful that you're demanding that Mr. Otiti should come and continue teaching you. We shall talk to him and we shall request that he should find time and come and lecture. We have so many people sending messages. We thank those online. I've been getting comments from South Africa, from Europe, even from the US. Others are following us now. People are not sleeping because of the clinic. They are waiting, they are listening. So we wish you the best. We wish you a Merry Christmas. This clinic is the last for this year, and we shall resume next year in January. Good. May God bless you all. Thank you so much.